Peter, Mairasi. How's it?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Once again.
Tatsoka bachirongwa.
Ina ndikati ndadzoka ndatanga kusvika.
Otherwise, it's OLI. As many knows AI nowadays. AI irutora zvinhu zvese baba. AI is everywhere. Kuchechi kana AI thing maybe one even kana everything is.
Wandi makutoti hanzi takainamatira nyaya AI yatora. Yeah, but is that song AI generated? Yeah, it is. That's AI straight. AI straight. Even you find Makusha likes of Advil also not. They're actually using it now. So AI no shata chipme.
But it's coming for everything, for everyone.
Not so, even.
Because the bad part of AI, you're going to fash. Over and this square or this square. But I was searching about Google 5 jobs which will be eradicated in 5 years due to AI. One of my degree abude baba nuzonda kapera strong mboti so tukwendere kufash kana kurumboti AI inokonsozo ndozomboti the human aspiration ogunubeka nambetwa erased investors ombetwa automated.
It's what do you know about that? I think inikwandiri nyaya ndekuti adaptability. Kona kupinza nyaya dzako kana wanga uri ku public records kana wanga uri kuchi find a way to use that tool. That tool is there to help us. Haina kuyakuzotora mabasa. It's just there to make life easier for us. Chete makatanga mchifamba ma distance akarebesa mukapiwa chikochikari mukapiwa mahorse mapina mabhasikoro mapina mabike.
Okay.
That's evolution ukuita iwewe 10 years ago I'm sure we're going to kunda kupla just a basic, the most economic car you'd need what? Mareka wonderful fuel. Now because there's a hybrid, there's an EV, there's just a Ruidash. It's AI. So it was there to take your jobs. One watch things at Tizira property because electric vehicle. It doesn't mean good chance to put a bus.
It doesn't make it obsolete.
Exactly. So you already mechanic cheesy wakakuti ona kandoza wapish. Ndakandi dzokudi kadzira mota dzemagetsi. Exactly.
My argument is this. What people understand about AI, or rather the conception of AI that people have, the perception is a bit different from what AI actually is, the one that we're experiencing right now. Because a lot of people, from what I've noticed, they take AI to be what we've seen in movies, where you've got my intelligent robots, like in iRobot, movies like Terminator and whatnot. But it's a different thing altogether, considering the fact that what AI does is simply, it's more or less just like a supercomputer. And it ingori advanced computer learning. Akuna chino produce kwa ni AI, akuna response yanopewa ni AI is Siri already existing information. So basically what AI does, it's more like a super compilation. To put it simply, it's like super compilation. Then you process your Tora as a graphic designer. Process your Tora to get a flyer or a poster. You that 3 hours, 4 hours. You can have a chat GPT or anything. What do you need? You need to give maybe 30 seconds or a result. So you go process prompts very fast.
Now comes the issue of we are talking about graphic designing. I'm an accountant by profession. We are all going to school, whatever, doing whatever academics that we are having. And especially intake nowadays is very high. So the accounting is 500 or 400 or 300 or whatever.
Graduates per year,
like graduates are being put up.
500, that's on the lower end of things.
So let's say for accounting every year.
How many graduates do we have on a nationwide basis? But graduation season end of the year.
No, I think pay institute because Tanga Kuti MSU would give you 1 point something, UZ give you 1 point something, NAST give you 1 point something. So those are the biggest three. As I tell you, Lupani, AU Kubudi top soups I go side. So I thought was common because at the end of the day, my graduates are good and I want. But at this point, even our graduate, Kuti was Shama Basa, Basa would run AI also not. But I think chinhu chokuti even up to us innovators of pinda ziva zvinhu zvauri kuita, because at the end of the day a degree, it's not just a paper, that's one. Two, but also takuzoti tine ma-assignments akawanda takaita tese panapa hausina kutombonyora yakangoitwa over 2-3 minutes nakungwanisa kuti mune the AI checker thing tinokurora paraphrasing too zvinongodi zvinoenda nobuda.
The issue I want to ask, let's talk about academic inflation, like the produce of a lot of people are over university, and those people, they don't have anything to do. So the market will be flooded with a lot of people who are very learned, and so what's the best way to cater for that?
Ndorangara kugeography pataita mapoints aya ekuti effects of inflation pataizotanzi availability of cheap labor. That point ndopatiri as a generation
right now.
Availability of cheap labor ndopazva. So let's not say Harare, Zimbabwe as a whole.
Yes.
We are getting to nyadzi Nigeria. Sekuti ndikakanda dombo mtown. Ngorikanda probability of hitting a graduate. It's now 6/10.
60% of it.
Exactly.
But on that same point, I think the other problem that we have is we are in the business of producing graduates who are looking to fit into a system or entity. We are producing employees, we're not producing innovators. Because honestly speaking, how many people came from doing an accounting degree thinking of starting their own accounting firm the first year of college? Let me guess, when you left college, when you got your accounting degree, you were thinking Grant Thornton, you were thinking EY,
Yes,
you were thinking Stanbic, and is it
Deloitte.
you're thinking Deloitte, I'm just speaking on general. If you were someone who was doing engineering, you were thinking Masimba Construction, you were thinking ZESA, you were thinking, so Chief Funga already, ZESA is an entity nationwide. In as much as it is a big institution, how many engineers can they take per year? Let me finish off. So that touches on the issue of saturation in market. You have more people who are high supply load. I supply low demand. Which so every day when I look at HR, they're fighting. We screen 700-800 CVs on a daily basis.
And the effects of that was say, but credentials are for someone to get a job where with a basic degree, I want and a master's, because that's the best way to screen people using that. Because I don't want this. Now people want this.
Uruna yautoti HR kumisirwa pa screen hapa. No.
So how are they screening?
No.
Basically they're going through stacks.
It's okay.
All right.
For example, massive yakawanda arikujirwa chingwa hapa nochipa pa breakfast kuma corporate. Don't why. So besides the fact kuti togona uzotangana who knows who and kuti uzonzwana basa, and that's one. But chitara the straight line chaicha yekuona basa mZimbabwe, and so imi chipade chino one. Already tukuti the the unemployment pool is very saturated, and
it's very fast.
And then abacho my employers from the percentage that we have, we also have bacho kuti pane mabasa are available, but they can only be available to a certain kind of people who knows who.
So
already open vacancies.
But let me tell you, even me as an accountant, my jobs are as my vacancies. In accounting degree, they are busy with a professional course palm. So that's now grooming. Because for you to do a professional course, you are now doing my articles. You see, so a person with just a mere degree of accounting, one is going to graft. Then how to do like a professional course for you to get that job, and for you to do my professional courses. Day
Mandara, times change. Do I think this is just times change. Got to get a I'll tell you kudara waita O level, just O level, which pays O level yako wakutoana temporary teaching watu abo but watu wana, and by then I'm sure my teachers were getting good pay, right? Came a time ekuti A level waita A level utotane grade, right? Then came a time ekuti degree is very scarce commodity. Ndokutodaro engasingambobatiki pese pese anti. But now andiri kuti zviri kuenda zvichiwedzera, because imi chinhu wanja tiri kukanganisa nje we are only looking at the apex. Takutarisa pai patinozoreleasa vanhu kuti vane degree. Imbotarisa kuti developments akuitika kubva kuzasi at kindergarten, at primary level. You find one primary level which are 7 subjects, right? Yeah, which are 7 subjects. Izo one primary kati ndibesere homework. Samazi homework chacha primary wewe. No kwenye samso ndochokwani. So you find all those things. Those are kucheti. So it's actually a change, repeat gradually. Vana vari kukwirawo bichani, but however isu problem yedu ndokuti isu vacho takaita ma degree kare, not really kare, but 5 years. A lot happened in 5 years. Tangova stuck in the whole point of ndine degree ndakaenda chikoro ndakadzidza, but tarisa kuti mwana ari akatanga kuzodzidza photosynthesis ari kuprimary, iwe kuprimary waidzidzei and iye exactly why is your anzi abdomen exactly when I was perform one you are busy with my homo sapiens homo habilis those are my desires. But wati mwana uyu ava pane imwe level, saka urufunga kuti mwana uyu by the time achisvika pa A level atova ne knowledge atova padhuze neyako iwewe uri first year.
So
uri first year kuchikoro,
not kuti uri first year, because I'll give you a very good example. It's also when we were in college, the guys were doing things like mechatronics, and they would start doing my practicals and robotics maybe in second year. We went to Lustani on Friday. What did you see?
No, we were there.
And you had kids flying drones at grade 1. You had kids coding my simple robots. My simple task robots. Mwana ari primary school asati asvika ma senior grades, that's 5 to 7.
And also kudza ma advantages robotics echichi
achikuzoti iri diode sister yo spark plug it.
So I think this comes to the question I want to ask Kuti. So what should colleges and universities do to adapt to the changes which are just happening, especially to make a graduate which will fit into the job market of nowadays for him or her to prosper in such a market, because everything is evolving?
Colleges are already doing it, but it is to tap into that. You find the level of innovativeness so far in colleges. I was fresh from my program and I by MSU. You know, kuti patovane side rokuti MSU iri kutengesa mvura. It's as simple as that. Just water. Vakudistilla mvura yavo chete vakudeso. It's a tool on its own. You go to an heat.
It is one place but it has always been a hub of innovation.
But still, I think my number plates SM Zimbabwe right now. I'm not sure about that, but I use it. You know that. Okay. So all those things, practical things, we are in hand. Universities are already doing that. I'm sure as of 2-3 years ago, Nopakatangwanya innovativeness from the colleges. But however, problem there is, are we tapping into that?
All right.
As a whole, I did a program ku MSU. I was doing consumer and marketing intelligence. So from AI we covered all those things, but it's up to you. Say it's okay. I'm a salesman. It's okay. I'm a marketer. I'm doing graphic design. What tools should I get from AI? Should I improve? So innovativeness, it doesn't necessarily come from the practical works, because you find one what my degree was just Pakawanda. tikavapa mabasa kumakambani uko vakawanda vacho. Yeah, right.
They end up becoming a liability.
Mwana abva kupoli akangotanga achitongodzidza hands-on, an advantage over mwana amboita
4 years of assignments.
Exactly.
The next question I have, what are the alternative pathways which have to be taken than the degree route?
You see, besides degree, diploma, whatever. There's a culture of
unemployment.
There's a culture of apathy, you know what? A lot of people are not in the culture of researching and reading. Probably because you're doing another program right now. But I'll ask you a very good question. From the day you graduated, after how long?
It's for me.
Not even just not aligned in the accounting. Even just a self-help because we're not in the culture of self-improvement. Exactly. So when you don't do that now, you are at the risk of becoming a dinosaur. You're at the risk of becoming obsolete. Problem is when you say these things, of course, there's a stigmatization that comes with these things. No, I'm a motivational speaker, whatnot. But the thing is, what people fail to realize is, at the end of the day, because right now you're asking, I'm a designer and I'm a technical person. It is usually for someone to design with pencil and paper, Coral Draw, AutoCAD or whatever. Interview for most design jobs, for most technical jobs. Interview face to face na HR consultant, and it's the third stage. First stage baba izama. We're not going to gara room once fire up this laptop. Can you give us a simple floor plan of this room? You go to Tango Exotic tour on Tango Sunday, you draw floor plan, can't get. So how much do you expect us to pay you? So you need to be in touch with what's going on within your field. And then also, I also think there's a need for diversification on a personal level.
All right.
Because you're an accountant and it's fair and fine. It came as a thing of passion and whatnot. But from Bacho, the people read a gap.
Ndinotokupoze baba pawati came senior passion also not vakawana madegree makangoaita neyekuti ndo mapoints akabuda ende A level yacho futi wakatoinda because ndo masubjects wanga pasa pa O level
maubata wawanda
so
it's not everyone but the majority
vakawanda angatocho vakawanda you didn't know una kana any interest in commercials and but so happened kuti wakagona kukrema economics or business studies and commerce whatever maths accounts wakatongoti ndo combination yangu A level and because I think in systematically ndo parikukanganisika so
it's an issue of career guidance.
All right, I thought it's systematical. Tikadzokera kumashure kuti kumwana ari kubva kuprimary ari kuti you find nations like China in as much as freedom of choice yako semwana uzoiwana but pano tikachitongokura after christening also not kakutonzi nonga maoptions apa pakaiswa mari apa pakaiswa chi pakaiswa kangononga mari tonzi investment banker pakanzi chi kanonga mota engineer.
So are you saying we are lacking talent identification at an early stage?
Not really, because indona senge catch them young.
Which is what I wanted.
But however,
I'm going back to that.
Catch them young. But however, there is diversification. There is room for you to venture into many things. It's okay, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? But however, the whole point of this is to survival, right? Hey, it's okay. Work out also not work at accounting, but you not this. Saka ukibochaka Hey,
So you're saying I'm doing the right thing? I'm accountant, but don't tell me.
So who knows? Maybe in your path ichakubetsera. But however, because life actually is too short for you to gamble on life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So it's time to kutsvaga ma quick solutions. Ekutsvaga kuti ndosvika sei pa apex pachinoda kusvika.
How do we survive?
Exactly. So you are struggling pakurisa kuti career yako ive relevant. Ustruggle kuti uda kuti iwewe chako urarame. Rent inodhura boys. Inongodiwa every month. Azviriko. Kana kuti basa rako achiri relevant. So all those things, guys, are bangling up, and unfortunately, it's bangling up in a generation where you will find comfort in different and wrong things at some point, right? So the problems emanated from isusu sevana. Inandioni senge AI yakauya kuzotora vanhu mabasa. No. Andioni senge AI itori problem. No. But however, isusu is a group seven. Tukukanza vachinwani. Development, self-development yanga isora nasamasi. Ndiyo kukanganisika. Iwe wakaita degree rako rini, wakachita rini 2021 and self-improvement.
This is 5 years later.
It's 5 years later, and you still expect kuti tikuvunze pa interview kuti unogona kushandisa pastel. Come on, nangwene no ndisinoita account pastel ndakuibona. Ndotodizvo zvinikasika mabazi kuti panogona kuvunzwa pastel ndapo noti iwewe improve yourself, find ways yokuti use that too. Kuti alright, ndina mkuru wangu a lecturer. Mkuru wangu at some point munanga chibelieve on my textbook baba. Textbook right? So this is psychology. In the psychology zvinezio left right center baba. And anokudza kuti ndikasetera ma students amwe questions akadai you can only read pa textbook akadai certain sources, right? I want my students are not hearing. So titotaura joking ndikati imbonipa one of your questions. Sirikudza achiza munguti chi dzakaoma. Zandipa question ndikati panchi chat GPT yangu apa with reference to Zimbabwean economy also not ta yet assignment in apa the student number 1 ndapedza baba ndoitora pa keyboard ta paraphrase that assignment number 2 apa wataka ngwe paraphrasing 2 ta zikazoti but wana that's the reason ina chitongoma kama nichifunga kuti students amari
alshore mabuka chomborezo.
So we had those students had an easy way out and they got the paper. Graduate vakatowanda vacho vakabudirira. But however, the same tool they were using to avoid the hard work they were supposed to do, are they still able to use the same tool to improve themselves? No panic question.
Yeah.
Wangogona kuishandisa here tuya. Wawashandisa kujuta here. Uchiri kugona kuishandisa here kuzojuta muupenyu futi.
Because muupenyu amuna mama shortcuts.
Wakuchema foul play. Kuti zvadai.
Because the other thing kuna vanhu vakawanda vakayambuka graduation day nezvituna. Kubvira ku assignment ye 1-1 kusvika ku dissertation yake and vanhu vakuyambuka nezvituna kana kuwana vari kuita masters nezvituna. But the thing now is like you're saying panenge pauzoenda kubasa iwe usvika ubva you're presented with the problem zvituna hapasina baba tipei results ndopaunotanga kudzamba wakutanga kuti you're starting to have issues. That's why you'd see some recruiters they say kuti I experienced this when I was in industry. Industry I guess it's applicable because zvinhu zvekuindustry zvakawandira kupoli
hands on
team rimwe raiuya riri graduate trainees engineer and it aibvunzo aitozobatsirwa nemufana anenge ari apprentice and mufana anenge ari apprentice anenge abva kudelta or something akutozomubvunza kuti apa patopaita sei apa vanzi ayo anodhara dondo apa topasunga nebhaudhi rakadai so because he's been doing this for the past 2-3 years practically was practical work yaunoita uri kuuni ndeipi attachment those 8 months of attachment.
No, attachment is practical work. Man, attachment vama attaches are kutibikira tea kumabazo. So I ndono tumanya dzekuprinta zvinhu manya unoti printira unoti chi.
So by the
time you are a glorified errand boy.
Exactly. By the time I was 1 year there's nothing you know.
It depends.
Of course,
depends on where you're working.
There are organizations, of course. You want to go to attachment to mamwe ma-orange.
Yes, to put that.
Yeah, but there are certain organizations aundoziva kuti
ukaenda kuattachment kupauri kudzoka kwayo.
No, tangotisa idu mazita but enda kuparastatal. Once any parastatal once waenda uri attachment iwewe paparastatal once wanatsokudzidza maybe maringo 1 or 2 but gentlemen, not at the end of the day ndo patikudzoka ini God, I think tunyaya kuzotisa kunyaya nyaya yedu yange iri pakuti vanhu vari kuchema kunzi mabasa, vanhu vari kuti zvinhu zvekudhakwa nenyaya yechi AI mukunyanya kuona mamuvi zvambotaura robot yeah, it's okay. It's actually my fear one day, because to a certain extent I have a theory kuti ndofunga we are being listened to, because unogona kuti TikTok yakona kudza how you are feeling, right? But it's the information that we feed them. My cookies are more accept
that's exactly what I was saying, but it's advanced computer learning and pattern recognition.
Do you know, I think there was a Muji ndakaita, was it consumer decision science? Yeah, consumer decision science. How did we come to make this decision to purchase something? I did also neuromarketing. Yeah. Brains ako, how did you come to make this decision? Right. Brains ako chongotama nadzo. Munhu ari very simple human being. Munhu pedze munhu dziri simple baba. Handizvo zvinofara nekuti Netflix yako iri kusuggestera kuti wabva kunoona I will find you, wakupiwa The Gentleman, wakubva chima movie ari kuenderana. Kufara nazvo. Because vakongoridha kuti iwewe ndo your viewing patterns takuona. Ukufara kuti YouTube yako iri kukupa zvakada. You find kuti ma supermarkets waswipe nekadhi rako takutogona kuti pareceipt pako pakatonzi thank you Mr. Samakombo kadhi rako chaichai, because it's just a matter of speeding up nyaya dzekuti kustatement richazopinda kupick and pay richazopinda kuti kadhi raswipe ndiraSamakombo raswipe kupick and pay. Already they just have that information ekuti pick and pay waswipe Samakombo and you feel special kuti ndizvezvo.
So in everything that you are saying, you are all coming back kuti wakadzidza zvakadai so kuti degree rangu randakaita ndakadai so atika. So I think the next question I want to ask kuti what are the consequences of depending on what you just learned, like the degree dependency? What are the consequences of depending on what you just learned from school only without even putting whatever? What are the consequences? Nyasema pinda
mawani kuti tori panapa pa podcast. Iwe motors what marana wanda same town. Car dealers wanda say. You know what car dealers baba besides vamwe avo matsotsi zvagara by profession, but car dealers akawana nema degree panza. Marana ari mutonas akawana nemadegree ndo consequences acho. Why manyanya kudependa nekuti anzi
ndikambodzidza ndikera degree rangu everything is going to be fine, everything is going to be sorted like that.
It won't, and it's not life haina formula. No, aizvozvo ndakazviramba haina kuti anzi ndazo. Do you know dream ataitwa nayo song yawikiti aiti ndikajakwa padeni nekanise kanise ameno kaizoreva kanise.
The backdrop of what you were saying, and I think we are also stuck in a transitional period. Our parents and grandparents came from a system that was somewhat functional. You go to school, you get your ZJC, you get your ZJC, you get your O-level, you get your O-level, you get your job. You get your job, you get a place to rent, or you get your first mortgage. You get your first mortgage, you're married by 27, by 29, 30, you've got 2 kids, 3 kids. By 35, you're planning for retirement. By 65, you retire. You're sitting in your house, your 3-bedroom house that you've sent your kids to school, you've given them the same model. At that time, it worked. And because my systems actually, they allowed that. But it goes back to what we're saying now, is that system still relevant right now? We're not negating the fact that and trying to follow a certain path. But I believe we're now in a space where we're living in a world where learning is more for the purpose of broadening the mind and sharpening the mind rather than forming the mind to follow a certain thing. Kune vanhu vekuti akaenda kuchikoro akanoita plumber and akaenda kuchikoro akanoita teacher. They know nothing else other than teaching. Or they know nothing else other than electrics dzemagetsi kuti ndi-electrician. Anonzi mudhara wangu aisenza kuzisa. Anga kana mudhara wangu angari fitter and tena kwakati. Baba wako vanosvika pakunoretire. Vari muplant vachishanda muplant yekuvilo motors. Unfortunately vana vilo motors vakazovhara but I think you catch my but I think you catch my drift. And it kuti at that time you could be in a position to work for those 40 years or so, and it could go on retire at 60, 65, because the systems were there, they were consistent. Baba is usually une policy nyarazo. Alright. Nyarazo ndatenda kule. Konasa retirement plan. And it's what is
gentlemen murushana kubora ngatange papo amushanda kuwe ngatange papo what number 1 Harriet mabasa wakasiyana ngatiti basa rakwa risoko
how many people are formally employed are registered you see what I'm saying? Vanhu vakawanda vari kuenda kunoshanda mumatak shop nemumabotiki botiki une payslip baba kune brown envelope at the end of the month kana yauye
but in fact wangotanye nasa ndirubatirwa nasa almost every month papa payslip pangu panozoita scandal. Do you think that money will come even
but chimwe chinhu munombofollow up here on madhiri emari dzamuri kana kuti mutasa payslip chara utozivawo kuti nasa iri kubatwa ndezvei zvichazodini.
Kuti people don't have a culture of researching and reading and knowing what's going on around them.
What you are told is the gospel, no problem. Zvawatouza izvo zvokuti chingopinda pabasa kuti it's okay iyo wakudongoziva kuti net mari wakuenda kumba chete wozodzoka mangwana wakuchema futi.
Alright, I want you to tungote a simple survey. You ask 10 people who are formally employed kuti PAYE zvorevei kana after wabvunza kuti PAYE zvorevei zvoshandei basa raye chairi kubatirwa chii
zvokubetserei
zvinokubatsira chii because munhu anongoti payslip yangu inoiri 500 but it's 400 and something after tax or it's 300 and something after tax. Iye anongoti everything anongoisa bracket yekwenzi after tax because that's the common term rinoshandiswa nemunhu so after tax kana after deductions anongozoti net gross but kuti because no nyani apathy and actually people don't have a culture of finding out what the hell is going on around them.
Alright, I think just to make the last argument to close this show, as a graduate, what's the best way to survive in an environment like this? I think let's just close with that. I'll just start with you.
You start with me.
Then but I should just close. What's the best way to survive as a graduate in an environment like this, especially in Zimbabwe? Let's say in Zimbabwe here.
For Zimbabwe, it's very simple: adaptation. You need to adapt and you need to be on your toes 24/7. In fact, 25/7. You need to be on your toes all the time. You need to have of course it was a no news but you need to be on your toes because legislation is kept 3 yakapinda and it one extend from 5 to 7. If you read that document there, that amendment there, baba ine ma legislative ngikini adjustments akawanda anofita zvakawanda
but right I feel like zvakawanda ukarova ne document rakadai zoga fine print yakawandisa yacho fine print yakawanda kuti uzonatsonzwa verenga zvese zvazvaka one ngatachoka iwo
ipapo yaniswa
but utaura zve cap 3 document maybe rakadai so ngatikotaura we ma terms and conditions econet pauno register line
terms and conditions I nangu to be honest I think that's tanga kuverenga ma terms and conditions when I was in my mid 20s
unaona tabwa verenga
Because when I should just accept and agree. Don't let me change.
Zvakafanira kuti hanzi wanzwa ofika basa papa wangoudza kuti mari yako yakadai zvimwe zvese zvaunogona kuzoverenga kuti hanzi unogona kudziwa basa ukadai muri chidhaka pabasa kuti hanzi hazvibvumizi kuti pabasa hanzi handibvumizi kupfeka hudi pabasa but dress code yangatoripo papapa but however ndokatuta kuti amene wangwapedza here panyaya
basically what I'm saying is adaptation, and for you to be adaptable you need to know what's going on around you basically. And it also shanso pfungwa dzako, common sense dzako nekufunda kwawakaita the broadening, your broadened mind and whatever, kuti alright zvandiri musituation yakadai zvinhu zvamira zvakadai so ndoita say to keep my head above water and hopefully someday to put my boat on top of the water basically. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, adaptation.
And come on.
Zvonetsa but inini ndofunga kuti number one handina advice was ndinoda tombozvitsvagawo ndotetsvagawo number one ndotetsvagawo but I think at the end of the day ingorarama wangwarangwara chete
because chinchoitika kamunhu akadzidza akaita degree, like a lot of people who are coming from universities, they think that having a degree is the answer. Like
it's just me. It's an answer to certain programs. And ndichagiro vanhu vakaita actual whatever, science or whatever. No, vashaya. Because the worst that can happen to him, I don't know, teacher mates. But anyway, I told her, I have a degree. Exactly. I have a degree. I have a program. But at the end of the day, inona senge formula ongongwara chete ngoonera zviri paground kuti izvi zvazvisi kuda soft, izvi zvazvisi kuda kushandisa bepa, izvo hazvisi kutomboda language
yechipusa mfana wangu
kana pasina kupusa iwe shotirepapo zvanhasi kuti hanzi urare wadya pakuda izvi
urare waisa zino
wakufanira kutoshandisa calculator yegefa kutoti 1 + 1 = 3 wakaisa mari yako yezino chete wakufanira kutoonera at the end of the day I think especially as a young generation isusu tine problem yekuti we want to have to think kuti kana ndikagona kudira neapa I've made it. Trust me, a lot of things can change. Zvatachitaura izvo kuti munhu akawana degree 2021 5 years down the line it's no longer relevant. So wakanatsokudzidza chaizvo the copies if you didn't do any self improvement also not continuous learning and uchingoramba uchienda kana usina kumboita zvese izvozvo zvinonetsa. But however unogona usina kuita zvese izvo kungoramba uchidzidza uchizodii plus kudzidza kwacho hatinotidzoka kuchikoro no tikuti verenga zvinoverengeka ingoziva zviri kuitika onera madhira kuti vanhu havadi trust me inini chishuwo changu chacho this might be controversial but chishuwo changu ndiye kutombobatikira papyramid scheme rerega ndiye vanofanira nobenefita pekutanga ndozoti to ndadya vanhu vakajena mapyramid scheme maecreator wanofunda mato ndokutoti ndivo wanofananditochibika angachibika nosungwa nosungwa ungova benefit one of the first vanhu vanopinda papyramid scheme wodya usati kuapex uri padhuze mijani wodya ukasira kuti tobo chitori chishuru. So but anyway the point is pane munhu akaita mari nezvihuta zvatomonzi zai rechihuta runorapa chakadai munhu akadi ende kathero kangatongobudira ipapa
vakazotera mumashure
pane vamwe noati musi wakazozikanwa kuti zvihuta zvishandika pane munhu angatostoka kana 5000 zvihuta padeni
losi baba saka asunga akaonera kuba achimbotanga ba atoonera
nemani mapotato emsaga ndomwe
ndasatoshanda vari pano
Zumbani kuonere kana kuti
no Zumbani to a certain extent I'm sure it still works vanhu vanoita vanhu no Zumbani apa covid pane vakaonera but for health benefits Zumbani still works I'm sure vanhu vanoita vanoita my herbs
munhu akabenefita munhu akanotisa gap market kuti vanhu vakawanda vazive kuti iri siniri isora remusango but vanhu vazive kuti inorapa embango guys kune rare plant kanonzi Zimbabwe kanopedza masports. What do? You take it from the bush, you package it. Value addition.
Unofunga kuti pakazotanga kuva nezhanje remusango nerudheni chichachaitika unofunga kuti isangangori musango mazhinji akaonera kuti irochengeteke.
But thank you guys for joining me in this conversation, and I hope you listeners you mabata 1 or 2 kuzava komana wataura zvese vadzumburudza so apa munogona so
nepasingatozivi pamwe
tachimbotaura.
But till next time, please subscribe to the channel. Please like and subscribe and share the video. Take care.
Pakushare, I'm sorry, go share information.
Mandara wadiko.